Hello guys, this is our first Diablo 4 Barbarian season 1 finisher build. So you can just kill everything, blast for everything. This build just dominates every PvE aspect of the game. You can kill Uber Lilith, you can run Nightmare Dungeons 100 with easy, you can do whatever you want. This is the Ruined Bleed Barbarian, but with a lot of cool interactions and tips. So if you like the video, please like and subscribe so we can keep going for season 2 with lots of new content and new guides. See you! Let's try out this build. How fast can we go? I'm still gonna be in looting. We missed the short path. That's not a problem. Let's not take any shrine, so we can see the should be powerful. Oh, nice. We went to the event. Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'm gonna loot it. I cannot handle myself. Ô vida, o barulho. Não dá pra ficar com esse barulho não. E aí, Igor? Thank you. Yeah, it's still pretty fast. Yes, very smooth gameplay. Let's go damage. For the helmet, we have the Iron Warrior aspect. Iron Skin grants unstoppable and damage reduction with cooldown, maximum life, total armor, and with the fourth one, we can be strange or all stats or dex or willpower, depends on how goes your Paragon Board. The armor, the disobedient aspect, this one is the most have, the best defensive aspect, arguably, with challenging shout, double reduction, close, total armor, and this distance one you can swap for bleed one or just total damage reduction, generic one. It's up to you. It's your call. For the gloves, relentless berserker one. I think it's maybe the most important aspect of all gear. Core skills has up to 36% chance to extend the duration of the berserker by 2 seconds, and double this if it was a critical strike. And how this build makes damage, it's the interaction between the berserking ripping, which we'll cover shortly, and the berserker. So The more time you are berserker, the best and more damage you're gonna apply to the enemies. So with the gloves, we got critical strike chance, lucky hit chance, uh, hands of your range, of course, and some strange. This is strange one you can change for whatever depends on what you need. It can be more critical chance with, can be some dex, can be all stats, can be whatever thing. Chance against injury. That's what I was looking for. For the pants, we got the numbing wrath. Uh, each point of fury generated while maximum grant 26 of 45. It's very very important to for the damage reduction thing. We got 4 damage reduction close, the generic one, fortify and bleeding. I think those are the best ones. You can have max life if you want. You can have like it's not optimum, but a little bit of dex or all stats to get to the last where hair nodes. Uh, for me, the preference after testing a lot, I think the maximum life gems, the ruby ones, the red ones, are the best. I try also the blue ones with the damage reduction while fortify, but like to run 100 nightmare dungeons. I think the life pool is still really, really, really important. Now I have the 1700 life with the potion. We go to 20,000, which is a solid. You almost nothing gets you one shot it, almost, because there are a lot of word interactions, which fucks us up. Okay, so for the boots, we got movement speed, berserking duration, furry cost reduction, and damage reduction. With the Ghost Walker aspect, the movement speed is really, really, really crucial if you wanna blast and smash as fast as possible the Nightmare Dungeons. Uh, Luckily, I got the 3 max evade charges, which are very nice. Like, up. You're very, very mobile and agile. Okay, so let's go for the weapons. For the two-handed mace, we got the aspect of the berserker ripping. This is the thing that inflicts damage of all the whole build. Whenever you deal a direct damage while berserking, do you remember the importance of the berserking duration, either on the boots, either on the relentless berserker aspect? It's because of this. You inflict 60% of the base damage dealt as additional bleeding over 5 seconds. So you get like a weird interaction, which the critic amounts go up to 100 million, 50 million, 10 million, just when applying all the bleed over the bleed and exploding it all once. For the expect things, for the affix things, hard to get the word. Got some vulnerable critical strike damage, core skill damage, and strength. It's very very important to get the high roll here. We don't care a lot of the item power because we are not rolling with the bludgeoning weapons. We are hitting with our slashing weapons, so it doesn't matter a lot. The more important things are the high rolls on this FXs, like 39 out of 42, 49 of point 0.5 out of 62.5, and so on. So for our two one-handed apples, um, I choose the sword because I also think that my critical strike damage is not high enough. We're gonna see shortly, and interaction also are very good. So here we got the vulnerable crit damage, all stat, and strength. You can either change strength for close core damage or the all stats if you don't need it. But I highly recommend using the all stat because when we get to the Paragon board, you're gonna see the importance of it. For the aspect, we run the Edge Masters. Skills there up to 20%, increase damage based on your available primary resource. Uh, it's very, very important when before you get to your whirlwind, we're gonna hit some things up. We're gonna uh, max our resources, so our whirlwind is gonna be benefit by it and gonna carry the whole damage for the long period of the time, or the whole duration of it. For the next one, we have the same vulnerable crit damage, all stats strange, but now with the expectant aspect aspect of the expectant. Oh, those words are very, very difficult. Attacking enemy with the basic skills increase the damage of our next core by 10% up to 30%. And we have as our basic skill lunging strike. So before casting our whirlwind, we're gonna hit the enemies 3 times with lunging strike, so we can have the most benefit of the expectant aspect, 30%, and we also gonna fuel our primary resources, also getting advantage with the edge masters. So we're gonna blast our rule, which is gonna give a lot of damage through the entire duration. So just a funny thing, avoid those nightmare dungeons with a lot of doors, because every time you stop spinning you lose these beneficial ones, and you have to stack it again if you want to have the max damage possible. uh, for our slashing weapon, this is the most important weapon of the build. Here we need to keep our eyes on the item power level. This one is 818, and it's very important to get at least 800, the maximum, the best, with the vulnerable, crit, close, or core damage, and strength. And for the aspect, we are rolling with the limitless rage. So each point of fury generates our maximum fury, grants our next core 4% up to 60% increased damage. So it's the same thing. So we are stacking fury here, stacking fury here. We're generating 45 here. So the build is everything tied together to be the tankier and the most damage as possible. For the weapons, we're rolling with the critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies, the 12%. This one is the dominant, is the best one. I also made some tests with the bleed one. It's not came close. So critical strike damage to vulnerable. For the jewelry, the amulet, we're rolling with some die rewind aspect. This one is not the best amulet, but it's hard to get a good one. So we have cooldown reduction, movement speed, ranks of counter offense. Here we can have heavy-handed counter offensive. Uh, if you have a nice two-handed mace and you rolling with it, you can use the wallop, or if you have the one mace here setup. And for the fourth attribute, we need, as the preference, some damage reduction, or if you're having resource problem, which I don't think we have in this type of build, you can have the furry cost reduction. Uh, there's a lot of options. Here I have the lucky hit chance while I have a barrier, because I just don't have anything better to put it. And with the dire whirlwind aspect, our critical chance is increased by 12% up to 36% for each second while we are channeling up. And we are constantly trying to channel for the long time possible for it to benefit from our Edge Master, from our Aspect, for our Limitless Rage, and for our dire whirlwind. And also everything with the barber aspect. The critical strike and all subsequent damage within 4 to 2 seconds is absorbed and explodes. Store, increased, and then explode. So the more critical strikes you get, the more the barber can proc, and the more damage you're gonna get. For those rings, we are rolling vulnerable, maximum life, crit chance resource generation. We can You can swap the maximum life for the resource, the critical strike damage, or you can swap the resource generation. Like, it's up to you. With the blue bolt shifter aspect, whenever you cast a shout, the skill cooldown is reduction by 1.8 per nearby enemy. So this aspect helps you a lot keeping up all of your shouts. The Malignant Heart, uh, we got the Brutal Heart that 10 to 20% of the incoming damage is suppressed. This thing make it you really tank. You cannot go without this one if you wanna do the Uber Lilith, Nightmare Dungeons, or whatever. And all the damage it's amplified and then explode, dealing up as fire. These things doesn't matter. We got here for the 20% damage suppression. It's not even reduction, it's suppression. It's incredible. The next ring, here I got the vulnerable, crit damage, lucky hit chance, and critical strike chance. Notice that I don't have the resource generation over there because I don't think there's any relevance. I can get the maximum resource just with one, so I swap it for the lucky hit chance. Our lucky hit is really important if we wanna keep our berserking for the longest duration as possible. So here it's very important. And I'm rolling the echoing fury aspect. Our shouts generate 2 to 4 per second, also helping me keep up my resource so we can still give damage and get some 45 back. Okay. And for our heart, for our malignant heart, every 5 seconds while we have above 60 life, my core skills cost life instead of my primary resource, also helping the regeneration thing. But skills that consume life deal 30% increased damage. So you're not spending fury and you are increasing your damage. I just tried with the heart that increased the crit damage while decrease or non-crit damage. This heart just it's far better. We are just exploding things as far as quickly as possible. So that's a little overview into our items and aspects and legendary things. Nossa, chato demais gravar esse trem, pelo amor de Deus. Deixa eu juntar aqui. Beleza. Agora a gente vai ter que gravar as. Now we got our skill tree. We start with our basic skills. Go for the lunging strike. They're very important. Got a short teleport, which is nice. Uh, we have lunging strike, increased damage for the engaging lunging strike, and the combat lunging strike. This thing is important to keep our berserking up when you're not with your shout. For our core skills, of course, 5 ranks into rear-ringed. Here I got my 418 contribution from my gloves enhanced whirlwind, and here the furious whirlwind. Furious because you are rocking with the slashing weapon. If you are not using slashing weapon, please go to the violent one. But if you have a slashing weapon, this furious thing improves our bleeding damage a lot. I got some pressure point here to make our enemies vulnerable for a little bit more time, not just relying on our Paragon. And for the defensive skills, got the Railing Cry one point, enhanced and Tactical Railing Cry. For me, it's the must-have for a resource regeneration. You also get some movement speed and Iron Skin. I choose personally Iron Skin, enhanced Iron Skin, and Tactical one for the heals, for the barrier, and you also get a lot of beneficial cooldown reductions, which you can use it over and over again, helping to suppress lots and lots of damage. For our next shout here, we got Challenging Shout, Enhanced Challenge Shout, and Tactical Challenge Shout. Here, I think this point here, it's like you don't need it. It's good. You really increase your regeneration of furry, but you can take it off, put it somewhere else. I got imposing presence. I really love this additional max life. Uh, I don't care a lot with damage reduction against elite. You can take 1 point out of here, put one here, or whatever. And War Cry with enhanced War Cry. I don't go for the power War Cry because I think when you use the War Cry, you grant your Berserking, and with the Berserking, you just explode things. So you don't need this additional 10%. You're already exploding things. You need some benefits when you're not Berserking overall. There ends the builds lack a little bit of damage, so or we try to balance things up with more defensive stats, but I think you don't need more. But if you want to put it here, it's also a great place. Booming voice, increase shout effects, and guttural yell to decrease damage dealt by us. 1 point in raid leader. Here you can swap guttural to raid leader if you wanna heals per second. I think 1 point is just good. Swiftness, very 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 important. As fast as you run, as fast as you can clear, you can evade the mobs, you can PvP fights, you can chase rogues, you can do whatever. And movement speed is very very important in this build. Aggressive resistance, you gain 12% damage reduction while berserking. We'll try to be at berserker stage as much time as we can. So this is very good and goes very well. I don't take prolific fury. As I said, I think my fury regen, it's already good, but this this thing here is also a place where you can put your points, moving you up to the weapon masteries. Here I got the Pit Fighter, 9% damage increase to close, and 6% damage distance damage reduction. I think this is very good. I don't go for the no mercy skills. I think that with our aspect and gear and everything, you have enough critical strike chance, but you can put some points here if you're lacking. Hamstring and cut to the bones to help my bleeding damage against vulnerable. You're gonna see the importance of it because when enemies are vulnerable, our damage are stacking a lot. There's huge explosion, there's huge Lilith one shot things came from our bleed stacking in the vulnerable with the interaction with the Berserker ripping. So I think here it's a very good points. One thick skin and 3 to counter offense. Here, while fortify, we have 24% increased damage. Very, 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 very good. Of course, I have 3 for our amulet. I put 3 to defensive stance, increase the damage reduction while fortified. Here, those also are points which you can take off and put whenever you feel like you're lacking. Maybe some no mercy, maybe some elite damage reduction, some healing, some more fury generation. It's up to you. I really like the 3 points here because I think this is a great, great, great beneficial to our defensive skills. Here we got our heavy hand, must have while using two-handed weapon. You deal critical strike damage increase by 15%, the multiplier one. I don't got the wallop one because, as I told you, I don't hit with the bludgeoning weapon. We hit with the slashing one, and I also choose the two swords for one-handed, so we don't get any benefit either from wallop or concussion. Here you can choose to get the wrath of the berserker, taking points of the iron skin. I think for running a high level nightmare dungeons, the iron skin is best, but these things increase your damage, increase your berserking time, which gives you more damage, and you get more movement speed. You can blast some speed run, some 80, 90s, even 100 if you get a certain gear. You don't need it, the iron skin anymore. You can rock with the growth of the berserker. You're gonna be in a pretty good state. It doesn't matter. Either here we got some pros, some cons, and here. If you want to be more offense, go for the wrath of the berserker. If you want to be more defensive, if the iron skin. And also remember, please, if you don't using the iron skin, please remove the aspect which benefits from the iron skin. You can swap for the grasping rewind or whatever you want. And for the last key passive, we are using gushing wounds and not the unbridled rage. Why? Uh, I think the beneficial of bleed damage, stacking, and critical chance and everything. It's very, very, very good and synergize very well with our build. When you put Unbridled Rage, you start getting some Fury issues, and then you have to rebalance all of your build with some key passes. But it's also very good. But for me, with my tests, the Gushing Woods are just best. The Paragon points. Here we are rocking with the Exploit, Marshall, Roth, Undoubted, Territorial, and Disembowel. Uh, for Paragon Board, there's a lot of variation, which are very good. This one suits the best for me. It's just based in the Rob Paragon Board, the last one, which he changed the some Fury and Maximum Fury for the Berserking duration. I'm just loving it. So credit to Rob and shout out to him. For me, he's the best Barbarian out there. Together with Dalcora, I think those guys are the base of my knowledge and maybe the whole community Barbarian knowledge. So let's go. Here we got the physical and the maximum life one in the beginning. You can go just from one route. I think those points are incredibly good. We're rocking the exploit here. You can put also the territorial here for gaining the best decks possible. Our first board is the weapon mastery one. As I told you, we rock with Marshall. We put some damage to elites here. Those are very, very good points. Okay, so now we go to the Carnage board with the Wrath one. And here it's the the point of this board. We have the Berserk increased duration, damage, and here it's very important, 20% damage by Berserk and 15% Berserk in duration. Very, very good. You those resistance we don't care. Uh, the Barbarian legendary nodes are not the great ones. Potion healings we don't care. We have this also the points here, but they are less synergical. You spend more points to get over there. So for the next board, we got the Decimator one with our Undaunted. This is very, very important. The damage reduction while fortified, the damage while fortified, just scale very, very well with this build. Get some vulnerable damage here. We go and take more vulnerable damage here with some armor. This board is very, very good. And then we go to the Bone Breaker one with Territorial, of course, more damage reduction, some close damage, and very, very good. Here we get some damage while healthy, and with the Barber interaction, a lot of things you're gonna be hitting, they are gonna be healthy, so very, very good. We go here and grab some max life and armor. Very, very important. This tenacity rare node. Very, very good. We keep on going to the flawless technique one, our last board with Disembowel. Disembowel really helps us with the cooldowns of our shouts. Bleeding has enemy has a 10% chance to reduce our cooldowns of non-ultimate active skills. So this is really important to get rolling with our shouts for as long as we can. Get some breach, some damage to close enemy heals and the Havoc, the critical strike damage. Here, just a quick note, we not met the requirements for another 15% strike, the critical strike damage. So here are the importance of the all stats and decks. With 100 more decks, I could be benefit of 15% more critical damage. So here is the importance. Don't just stack strength. You're gonna lack some another important stats such as dex or here strength, and we have willpower as well. If you're not getting those attributes as required, you're gonna be missing some lot of bonus attributes, which makes the all builds to another level. Here for our weapon expertise, we're rocking with the two-handed wax, vulnerable image. The one sword expertise are also very good to keep grant us fear back. We have the two-handed sword, 20% of direct damage you did inflict as bleeding, and the two-handed mace one. For this build, the best one it's the two-handed axe, but here it's pretty straightforward. We're using two-handed, 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 one-handed ou one-handed. Não, isso aqui ficou uma bosta. Vou tentar de novo aqui. For the weapon expertise, we choose the two-handed wax expertise, more damage to vulnerable. This one is the best for stacking damage. You can also choose the two-handed sword one to help your bleeding damage. And the one-handed sword is very good also for the fury regen and the lucky hit but we have some kind of lucky hit with the build, so that's gonna be beneficial as well. If you're using one-handed mace for the wall up, the damage to stun, so here you need to change some things to benefit more for stun, and you gain berserker. It's very, very good. For our weapons, in the real range, you're gonna be choosing always the slashing weapon. Okay, the two-handed one, the slashing weapon. And for the lunging strike, you're gonna be rocking with the two dual wield, the fast animations, and we're just using the lunging strike to get some, or either Basaka or stacking for our real wind. So I prefer the dual wield, but you can use whatever. But the most here is the slashing weapon in the real wind skill.